All right, Michael, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jason.
You're welcome. Michael, if you raised $5 million for your startup, would you pay yourself more than $100,000 or less than $100,000?
Would I pay myself more? Well, first of all, after I recovered from the party of raising that $5 million,
Awesome.
I think the key thing for me would be I'd probably pay myself 180. I worked with a group recently, a group of entrepreneurs, and they had a $100,000 policy. Everyone was on 100, and then depending on what value they added to the business, it went up from there. So I thought that was a really nice leveler in that business. And it took money off the table as a point of objection or challenge in the business. A flat salary is really neat, and 100's a good round number. So I'd go with that.
That's awesome. That's actually a really good answer. Number 2, what's the toughest thing you're facing in your career right now as a entrepreneur? Would you call yourself an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I reckon the greatest challenge that I've seen recently is the mindset of executives in business. And I reckon, and I'll use Uber as an example. If you look at the taxi industry, 2 years ago, Uber didn't exist, right? Yeah. And everyone's kind of surprised, like, oh, where did Uber come from? But, they were there and they were doing their thing. And if people were paying attention, they'd go, hey, this is coming. A lot of executives are still doing the equivalent of riding a carriage with a horse pulling it.
Yeah.
And I think some have worked out, we really should move beyond that, whereas others are thinking, let's put more horses in front, because that'll make us go faster.
Yeah.
Whereas really, I think we need to have a reinvention of how we think about business.
Yeah.
So given that, I think for people like us, myself as an entrepreneur, is how do I orientate myself with a business person who's kind of part locked into their mindset, but then help journey them, if I can say that word. It's a bit of a
I think that's the best way to do it.
But I think work with them and be a bit sort of zen about it and work with them and slowly help them turn. I think that's the biggest challenge.
So the toughest thing you're seeing is people just with an old school
bit of an old school, man. Yeah.
The dumbest thing you're seeing in your industry right now, what's the thing you're just like...
So I kind of come from project management land, okay? Yeah. And what I see is sometimes a project starts to show signs of distress. Yeah. It's what I call a watermelon project. Yeah. In other words, people say, oh, look, everything's green. Those little status reports, like it's red, amber, green, they go, it's green. Oh, but really it's red in the middle. So that's what I call a watermelon, right? Okay. So when your project starts to turn a bit watermelon, what I see is a company will go, oh, I know, let's get the big 4 in. Okay. That'll solve the problem. Let's throw money at
100 people on site.
Yeah. Let's throw, and there's nothing against the big 4. I know a lot of great operators, but the mindset is, oh, if I throw money at this, that'll fix it. Yeah. Whereas I think a lot of people, and a little bit like what I was just saying a minute ago, is if people sponsoring projects or in charge of big budgets where they have to get a bunch of people to rally around an idea and embrace change in business, is actually how am I as a manager, how am I managing and leading and inspiring my people, and what can I do differently about me, and how do I harness the collective energy of a project. And I sometimes think it doesn't matter how much consulting or governance or audit reports or whatever you throw at something, it still doesn't change the basic facts of most people want a good leader, right? I think we sometimes mistake outsourcing our success as a leader to someone else.
So
exactly.
That's and it just keeps getting passed around.
Yeah, exactly.
So that would be the dumbest thing you're saying.
Dumbest thing, and people think, oh, I can buy my way out of my project's trouble.
What are you doing about this?
I think the challenge is, as say someone from the consulting sector, what I think is a useful mode of engaging with a leader is first of all giving them some kind of assurance that they're okay.
Make them feel safe.
Yeah, make them feel safe. So one way that I see a lot of leaders do that is they will reach for a nice hefty project plan, and it's like a little child with blankie. It's like the thicker my project plan is, the safer I'll feel. You want to pry the fingers off the safety blankie project plan and sort of get back to basics here. Like what's the problem we're actually trying to solve here, right? Okay, what is our customer, whoever they are? Why don't you go and ask them and actually just check what actually do you really want, like what benefit do you want to achieve here, right? And then check what am I doing right now in my business that's helping line up directly with delivering on that customer's benefits. So what I endeavour to do is when I work with people in business is kind of pull the curtains back on that and unmask to say, your benefit you're trying to deliver to your customer is this, right? According to your customer.
Yeah.
What you're doing is this. If they only overlap about 50%, then you could argue 50% of what you're doing is waste. Therefore, stop it, repurpose that 50% and throw that into the good 50%, and you've got the same net cost, right? But you're actually now in effect doubling your power to deliver value.
All right. So what you're doing about it is to really sort of change the world one project at a time.
Absolutely. And you know what's interesting, Jason, is too when you kind of simplify like that. Most projects you can actually pull cost out of. A lot of people kind of get nervous. They're like, oh, I have to throw more money at a project. Sure you do. It's like the equivalent of bolting more horses onto a wagon. But if you actually just stop the wagon altogether, and maybe you only need a skateboard.
What are you not doing day to day that you know you should be doing more of?
I reckon I've encountered over the last number of years of working with people in business. There's a lot up here, and I probably haven't harvested that out of my head and put it on paper.
Right.
So I reckon I probably could do the world a favour, I hope, by maybe sharing more of what I've learned. There's a real opportunity for people who have got that experience. They kind of almost owe it to the industry, the sector, the world. Share that, and it's probably a great promotional tool, which I probably don't do enough of. I know the last couple of years I could probably credibly use the excuse I was too busy, but if I'm true to myself, there's a lot of nights, it's 8:30, do I turn on the Apple TV? Or do I punch out that little diagram and think about that methodology for another? And sometimes I choose the first one and just veg out, right? I think I'm probably arriving at a place now where I actually do feel like I could coherently put some stuff on paper, and people would be better off for having read it. To put that out there, you do have to. You got to back yourself. If someone else perceives that as arrogant, well, okay, I can't control that anyway, so I'll just get on with it.
It's your time to humble brag. And what's something you've done recently that you're super proud of?
I'm pretty happy with a project I did when I worked for the government, actually the Queensland government, about a year ago.
Okay.
And I was given an initiative which was called the Elective Surgery Wait Time Guarantee.
Okay.
So the aim of the elective surgery was the Queensland government had about 8,000 people overdue for surgery.
Okay.
And which is pretty full because people die waiting for surgery.
Okay.
It's horrible, but it's true. The minister and the powers that be said, look, Michael, we're doing some stuff about this, but it's not happening fast enough. How can you make it happen quicker? So I came into the project, and in 12 months, it's my understanding, the first time in the history of free healthcare in Queensland, so about 50 years, we took that list from about 8,000 people down to 100. A whole group of people that just rallied. I'm talking, there was several dozen people every day got together to work on this problem for taxpayers, and I was fortunate enough to be the person who played a contributing role, and so that's pretty cool when you can say I've helped save lives. We won an Australia Day medal from the Minister and the Director General, and got a letter from the Premier and all that. Wow. So it was pretty exciting.
That's brilliant. Dude, it's been an absolute pleasure. I know it's a cliche, but it's sincere. So